transformational shift has created a new world order off the back of the downturn, and the rise of the emerging market is coming into play. Emerging markets now represent over 40% of world production, compared to 20% from Europe and 20% from the US. Earlier today, we spoke with Middle East expert Mr. Arnaud Leclercq from Lombard Odier to discuss the new economic shift that's taking place and what to expect from the region. Mr. Arnaud Leclercq, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you to welcome us.
So tell me about the Middle East in terms of economic turbulence. Do you think we've got more to come, and what should leaders be wary of?
Well, turbulences are not just in the Middle East. They are all over the world, and actually even more coming from the Western world, Europe and the United States nowadays. So in this sense, the Middle East is not remote from these places. Everything is so much interlinked nowadays. So yes, there might be more turbulences coming to the Middle East, if I should say. What they should do, I think the rulers have taken absolutely the right steps to stabilize the situation and protect what needed to be protected, and stopped also some other further investments. So I think they have taken the right decisions. They have to sustain these policies, and they should weather the storm. So
many experts are saying that emerging markets are now taking over from advanced economies. Tell me about this new world order that's taking shape.
It's a very strange world now, which is, if I could say, totally changed, in the sense that you have the funny situation of having the developed countries which are being financed by the developing countries. And you have the developing countries which have pretty sound balance sheets and so on, whilst the developed countries have huge deficits and debts. So it's the contrary exactly of what exactly should happen, and obviously this will lead to a number of consequences in the economies.
So do you think as emerging markets start to dominate as major capital exporters, this might bring about some political problems in the West?
Well, big Western countries have started to adapt already, because you have now the G20 and not anymore the G8, so that's already an important change. If you consider that in today's world, in the top 30 economies, you have about 1/3 only being from developing countries and 2/3 coming from the developed countries. In 20 years, that should be reversed. So, of course, they will have to adapt. The Western countries, or US or European countries, will have to adapt to this situation very much more than they have until now, and accept that this not only economical factor, but the political factor to open the door to the Middle East and to some other developing countries, because they have a new place in the world, and this is a fact. It is not good, it's not bad, it's just a fact which has to be taken into consideration. And people's voice have to be listened to.
Definitely. So there's been a lot of debate over the single currency issue. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's beneficial for the region?
I think it's, in theory, it's a good idea. But to my understanding, it's been postponed. I think it's good to have a single currency in good times. Maybe the euro was also the big question to be, or the example somehow to be followed. And maybe the rulers in the Middle East have understood that despite the good idea and all the very good aspects of the euro and what it brought to the eurozone economy, still, obviously, with the situation of Greece and some other countries, it has led to a number of other questions. So I think it was very wise to put it aside for the moment.
So what do you think the region must now focus on in order to fulfill its potential?
The energy sector is, oil and gas, is certainly the most important, not only for the region, but will be a very important sector for investment and for growth over the 5 to 10 years. People were talking a lot about the clean energies, the wind and the solar energies and so on, which are indeed very important not only for the economies but for the planet as a whole, overall. But the problem is that these new technologies, are subsidized. And when you talk about subsidies, someone has to pay for these subsidies. And those who are supposed to pay for these subsidies are countries which have huge amounts of deficits and debts. So most probably they will not invest or cannot invest anymore or subsidize as much as they wished. So therefore, the oil and gas topic and the energy topic is certainly a very good investment theme for the years to come.
So what industries do you think we need to look out for in terms of growth over the next decade?
When there is fog, you tend to slow down and not drive at full speed, which I think is what people should do today. So if you're talking about the equity market and the markets, well, definitely to focus on the countries like Germany and France, which have very good steel, very good industry, and those industries which will export to China and to India. These are certainly some themes of investments which are very good over the next, I would say, 3 years or so. If you talk 10 years or more, then I like the themes of the megatrends, so to say, like the aging population, like the energy sector, which I've just mentioned. Things that, whatever will happen in the world, more or less, these sectors will grow. If you take the aging population, for instance, we have launched a fund called Golden Age. All the companies, being in pharmaceutical, being in real estate, being in other industries, which are simply taking advantage of the aging population because they have invested in research, in products, in hearing devices, or whatever it is, will grow organically over 10% per annum, simply because, unfortunately, we are all getting older, but that has huge consequences for the economies and for many industries. Short term, be careful, but there are some good spots of investing. Longer term, and only the themes which are the mega trends and themes that people can understand. Never invest in something you don't understand.
Thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much. Great, my pleasure.
Well, that's it for this edition of Inside Business. You can contact us by writing to ib@city7tv.com. Don't forget that you can also view our previous shows online at YouTube. Just search for Inside Business 0-1. But for now, from all of us on the business desk, goodbye and thanks for watching.